Steve Jobs, 6.
ICARUS, what goes up? At a Manhattan party thrown by Yoko Ono, Jobs gifted a Macintosh to Sean Lennon. Andy Warhol and Keith Haring were fascinated by the machine's creative potential. Despite buying properties, Jobs didn't move into the San Remo apartment and left the Woodside mansion unfurnished. At Apple, Scully increased Jobs' authority, merging the Lisa and Macintosh divisions under Jobs' leadership. Jobs maintained his ruthless approach, criticizing Lisa team members as B or C players. Initially, Jobs and Gates maintained a facade of friendship. However, doubts arose among the board members about Jobs' control over Scully. Steve Jobs and factory aesthetics. Steve Jobs' passion for perfection extended to the Macintosh factory. He aimed for Japanese-style discipline despite objections, causing tension with the manufacturing director. During Jobs' Europe trip, he displayed his obnoxious side. He disrupted plans, clashed with Apple's general manager, and pressured teams for higher sales forecasts, causing stress for Joanna Hoffman. Despite clashes, Jobs' ability to turn on the charm impressed observers. In Paris, he charmed audiences with a vision of computing for all. François Mitterrand's advocacy for technology and Jobs' romantic pursuits marked the Paris visit. Jobs' encounters with Jean-Louis Gassi showcased his charm and bullying tactics. Falling. The Macintosh was initially a hit, but sales declined due to significant flaws. Despite its beautiful user interface, it was slow and lacked power, causing performance issues. The Mac's graphical approach consumed significantly more memory than text-based displays like Lisa's. This led to further performance issues. Jobs' aversion to an internal hard disk and refusal to include a fan led to component failures. This earned the Macintosh the unflattering nickname, the beige toaster. By the end of 1984, with Lisa and Macintosh sales declining, Jobs made an uncharacteristic decision. He created the Macintosh XL by equipping unsold Lisas with a Macintosh emulation program. In 1985, a misguided ad campaign titled Lemmings portrayed blindfolded managers marching off a cliff. Jobs and Scully found it negative and insulting to potential customers. During press interviews in New York, Jobs exhibited discomfort and anger. His objection to the ad campaign and attire reflected simmering anger. The decline of Macintosh sales and the flaws that contributed to it are a cautionary tale. It's essential to listen to feedback and make improvements to stay competitive. 30 years old. In February 1985, Steve Jobs threw a lavish party at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco to celebrate his 30th birthday. It was a black tie affair with eclectic guests, including Bill Gates and Elizabeth Holmes. Ella Fitzgerald provided entertainment, and John Scully toasted Jobs as technology's foremost visionary. But despite the unique gifts, Jobs left them all in a hotel room. In a Playboy interview, Jobs shared poignant thoughts about turning 30 and the need to embrace change as an artist. He hinted at an impending shift in his life and the possibility of re-emerging differently. Jobs emphasized the importance of not dwelling on the past and discarding previous selves. He acknowledged the challenges artists face in resisting external images, and hinted at the prospect of going into seclusion and emerging later with a different perspective. Showdown, Spring 1985. Let's talk about the growing rift between Steve Jobs and John Scully in 1985. It had multiple causes, including business disagreements and a waning emotional connection. Jobs criticized Scully for not becoming a product person and understanding technical details. Scully, in turn, found Jobs frequently obnoxious and disruptive to relationships. The board intervened in early 1985, urging Scully to assert more authority and Jobs to focus on fixing the Macintosh division. However, as Macintosh sales disappointed, Jobs' mood swings worsened, leading to conflicts with middle-level managers. An attempt to create Apple Labs to explore new technologies and products seemed promising but fell apart. Scully considered Jean-Louis Gassi as a replacement for Jobs, and the board encouraged Jobs to focus on inspiring a passionate team instead of managing. The rift between Jobs and Scully ultimately led to Jobs' departure from Apple in 1985. It was a pivotal moment in Apple's history and had a lasting impact on the company's culture and leadership. In March, Scully confronted Jobs about his inability to run the Macintosh division. Jobs declined to cede control and vacillated between asserting himself as a corporate manager and pursuing the Apple Labs R&D group. The board met on April 11, with Scully recommending Jobs step down from the Macintosh division. The board, frustrated with both, met privately with each and sided with Scully, granting him authority to remove Jobs. After the decision, Jobs oscillated in his attitude toward Scully, expressing betrayal and contemplating restoring their friendship. The tumultuous events marked a critical juncture in Apple's history. Plotting a coup. In early May 1985, Jobs went to Scully's office and asked for more time to prove himself as an operations guy. Scully refused and a shouting match ensued about who was the worst manager. During the Macintosh team's quarterly review, Jobs clashed with Scully over the division's mission. Despite Scully's critique of Jobs' management, Jobs pleaded for another chance to run a division, but Scully refused. While Scully was in China, Jobs used the opportunity to execute his coup and take control of the Macintosh division. Jobs' downfall was ultimately caused by his inability to work collaboratively with others and his refusal to accept criticism. Like a Rolling Stone. In 1985, Jobs attended a presentation on the new company order by Scully. As the organizational changes were outlined, Jobs' role was reduced to a ceremonial global visionary. Despite attempts by his support squad to lift his spirits, Jobs blamed Scully for betrayal. The loss of key father figures, like Arthur Rock, was particularly devastating. Scully publicly dismissed Jobs' relevance, shocking analysts. Jobs considered escaping to Europe, visiting Paris and Italy, trying to find solace in architecture and buying a bike. In Moscow, he clashed with the American embassy over exporting Macs to Russia. At a university speech, he praised Trotsky. Despite initial hopes of a global visionary role, Jobs' return to Apple as such seemed unlikely. The narrative closes with a foreshadowing of something significant happening in September.